What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about TOSHI today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I've had a slew of comments. People are wanting this thing, so we're going to talk about it. Yeah. Suffice the hyenas. I don't know. You guys aren't hyenas. You're kinder than that. I don't know. The I don't even know what to call you. The little children of the world. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Okay, from a high to a low, or a low to a high. I always do that. Low to high here. You have pulled back from this very. It's significant, right? These are significant pivots here. This is a significant pivot here, namely because this was like your main significant pivot throughout this whole consolidation phase. I hope there's a very obvious reason as to why I'm deciding to draw my low to high from here. Okay, for the fibs. You bounced right off the 1272. Okay, finding some support there. That's nice to see. What we'd like to see is now a reversal of the dynamics of how you're working in this fib, right? Generally, productive to the downside means lower highs, lower lows, right? Productive to the upside would mean higher highs, higher lows. So you need to now, instead of going below this fib level and finding resistance at this one, you need to get above this one. That's step one, above 0.000575. And then when you get above there, you need to not go below here. As long as you're doing that, I think you're fine. Really, the most ideal kind of thing to do would be to fly right through the roof. No, the most ideal thing other than that would be to go to maybe the 886, find support at the 100, and then when you get a dynamic something like this, you guys, when we start to stair step in the other direction, that's whenever it's time to get excited that you literally are going to retrace this whole entire range. And I think that you will retrace this whole entire range. But the reason why I'm taking this fib right here, for one, it seems significant, and then for two, it's maintaining. If we didn't find relevance on it, I might use this fib, but I'm sure this low to high, because it's smaller, it's 1272 is probably right at the same area. I bet just below. And maybe you go there, maybe you don't. But again, I think this fib's more significant, so I think we're going to adhere to it more. We could go lower, and we'll talk about that. We'll get into that. But just on the notion of going higher right now, I think a very big level to get above would be about 0.000574. And to me, validating that this is the low would be once you get a daily close above the 886 there at 306256, something there, Once we get that, likely you'll be ready to break out of this overall downtrend, right? I mean, if you were to draw a downward sloping line, oh hey, that wasn't actually that bad of a line. It didn't go well toward the end there. Let's just see something like this. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess the 100 would do it actually. Never mind. Okay, cool. Yeah, the 0.00574 is actually a bigger deal than I thought it'd be. But from a fib perspective, getting above the 886 is also nice. Ultimately, getting above the golden ratio would be nice too. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's see if we are bottoming out, or if we have a little bit lower to go, and we'll see if we can figure that out. None of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but of course, anything can happen. You can do technical. That's the thing about technical analysis, you guys. If you think it's going to be this perfect crystal ball that you just rub and then it tells you the future, you got to rub those magic shiny balls and see your future inside of them. That actually is true. Your future might be inside of some shiny balls, but that maybe not for everybody. If you're a female, clearly not. But if you're a guy, your literal future, right? I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting off on a whole different note. I just mean you have children in there, or the potential for children. Anyways. Okay. Um, damn shiny crystal balls getting in my head, man. Oh, I didn't realize that the camera was disconnected here. Let's reconnect that there. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, looking at this RSI, I think it looks pretty good. You got the higher lows here, higher lows, yeah, lower lows there, higher lows. Finding support at the 1272 is a pretty standard thing to do. What we need to do now, I like the fact that you've rejected the 50 not just once, but you're up here again right afterwards. So that's good. Generally, whenever you reject this area in a circumstance like this, you would expect to see the oversold zone, right? Especially with these lower highs coming in. So the fact that you've gone back for more in a very short amount of time tells me that even if you reject here, you're likely inevitably going to break above it, which would also break you out of this like lower high trend that you're in. Until you do, though, of course, you run the risk of going lower. And if you go lower on the 4-hour, you will go lower. You will see lower lows on the price as well. But I like this. I really do like this as a low. Not just as the 1272, but from a low here all the way over there. Look at that. You literally tipped that after your initial listing mania craze, where you pulled back to, where you found support off of, and then you launched to your current all-time highs. That's where you found support right there. So I think that's a good look. Let's look at the 1-hour time frame here. higher highs in the RSI. You do have lower highs in the price. That's not necessarily a good thing, but that doesn't mean that you have to see lower lows. Though it does put the ball in the bear's court. I would say this 4 hour look to me as positive, the potential of the positiveness, that positiveness. I don't think that's a word. The potential here, the bullish potential that at least appears to be here, is a little bit diminished by this 1 hour time frame. But hidden bearish divergence where you have a higher low or higher highs here and then lower highs here, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to see some kind of immaculate drop. In fact, hidden divergences are oftentimes a little bit weaker than regular divergences. So this could be it. You don't have to go lower than this. But let's see if we can, from a low to a high, can we find anything? Nope, that wasn't it. That was not it. Low to high here though. Come on now. Come on now. Low to high here. 786 up to the 690. Yeah, I think you're going higher. Right up to the 382. Anytime, yeah. Let's see, if you can hold above the golden ratio, as long as you're above the golden ratio, I'll tell you what, if you do get below 3.04826, if you get below there, then likely you do see a lower low. That low would come in the form of 3.0447 to 3.043, somewhere in that area, perhaps even lower than that. But that's the line that needs to hold. That line right there, the golden ratio. Why? Because anytime you get a 786 bounce, and this is like the third one that we've talked about tonight, right? These things are running rampant in the space, you guys. It doesn't matter what time frame, 1 hour, daily, weekly, whatever, you know, but they're significant relative to their time frame. This absolutely was the 786 bounce. You don't need to continue higher from here. That rejection says it all, in my opinion. Very classic maneuver. Oftentimes you don't excel past the 100 immediately with these 786 bounces, but sometimes you do. XCN did. That was nice. Definitely unexpected. But finding support at the 382 or finding support at the 0.5 is what I would expect you to do. So you actually could be in an area to find support here. I wasn't kidding when I said this hidden divergence could have played out already. If not, 3.0489 could be where you go. And then if you don't hold there, 3.04826, it needs to hold as support. Can you wick below it? Sure, you can wick below it. You could wick way the hell below it. You could get a monster wick that's lower than that. As long as you're closing above the golden ratio, I don't have a problem with it. It's no problem at all to me. Who cares what the people who are panic selling while the candle's opening is doing, right? I want to know what the market makers are doing. What are they going to have the price close at? And if it's above 1.6, sorry, not 1.6. If it's above the 618 at 3.04826, 4827, if it's above there on a closing basis, on a 1 hour basis, then I'm not worried about this thing at all. And then again, also, I want to say that just because if we did close below the golden ratio, that doesn't actually mean that you have to go down here. Watch you close right below there and then bounce. But from a statistical probability, it would likely signal that you go down. You'd have this M-shaped look, and M's are not completed until you go below where the M started. And if you do go below, you likely would see the extensions being hit. Okay, I hope that's all clear. I want to look now at the daily time frame, daily RSI. Oh, I've got the brush on. There we go. Is there a way that I can just, I know if I right click, it'll take the brush off, but I have a problem with right clicking on this mouse of mine. I would rather just press a button. Is there a way? Does it have? It won't let me. It doesn't tell me. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't even know. What are all these? Demonstration? New. What the hell is this? Hey. Hold Alt for temporary drawing. What? Oh, bro. So that's how Kevin Svensson does it. Okay. Oh, that, you guys, that could be useful. Because look, now I can drag without... Anyways, okay, I'm going to figure that out later. That's cool. Kevin Svensson, I'm on to you. Daily time frame this low. It's not going to help us right now. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, man. I suppose I think you're going to move up from here. If you move lower, it's a little bit, you know, but I think that you will move up from here inevitably. I don't need that. There we go. So let's talk about that. From a high here to a low here, whenever it comes to retracing, assuming that this is your low and that you're not going lower. If you are going lower, all of these targets here will be a little bit lower, just a little bit lower. They don't get affected that much, right? Like you would have to drop immensely to affect these prices. If you go, even if you go, you know, from here, the 618's at 2.013, all the way down here, it's at 2.012, just barely below 2.012. So it's not that significant. Somewhat significant, but not that significant. The first move that I would expect you to do whenever you do break out of this downtrend, which it could happen any day. I would expect it happens any day now, especially with all the pessimism on meme coins. People are so pessimistic. A solid, stable meme coin, like I say stable, I should say a staple of a meme coin in the meme coin community, TOSHI. I think once you do break out of this, you're going to see an immediate rip, and I think it's going to be in a very short amount of time, up to your golden ratio. Golden ratio at 2 zeros 1.3 to 2 zeros 1.5, somewhere in this zone at about 165% to 200% growth. That makes a lot of sense to me. Golden ratio zone, find resistance at. In fact, oftentimes you do find resistance there the first time. Unless, of course, you do this 786 thing where you just rip through to the 786, find resistance, and then you get an immaculate dump because of it, right? It can be good if it's for support, but it can be bad if it's, or not even bad, but just allow for a high velocity move to the downside if it's as resistance. But generally speaking, statistically speaking, like 60-70% of the time you do stop at the golden ratio on your first attempt. Somewhere in this zone you might tip it exactly, you might live inside of it. Oftentimes you do go a little bit through it, and then you probably find resistance there. So that's the area that I'd expect you go to probably over the next couple weeks or so. Again, I think that whenever you break out of this, it is going to be a stupendous move up. That probably by the middle of March, if not sometime in like the third week of March, I would expect that you're up here, if not earlier. And then once you find resistance here, it's very common to go to your 0.5 or your 382 for support. And, you know, those are all at higher levels here. The 0.5 has reasons to find support there with resistance there. The 382 has reasons to find support there with resistance there. But depending on how you do this, right, I would say if you move all the way up to the golden ratio like this in a straight line without any resistance on the way, you have a stronger chance of going to the 382. If you're more methodical, if you hit the 382, you've pulled back to the 236, 0.5, like if you're more methodical like this, you will likely hold the 0.5. I hope that's clear. Just because you're not methodical doesn't mean you can't hold the 0.5. It's totally fine if you do, but just be aware of that going forward. I'll probably hold your hand through that anyways. Let's talk about the higher targets. We're looking at, whenever it comes to new all-time highs, by the end of this move, whenever you really break out and you see expansion, new price discovery, you're going to hit about 0.004 as your minimum target to 0.007 at the maximum in this primary target zone. You very well could excel past that and see 1 cent to 2.1 cents, something in this area. Let's see what that percentage would be. Come on now. I mean, at a minimum, that's about an 800%, or that's an 8x. And then the 1618 is at about a 14x. So I don't think you go above there. Of course, if you do, if you get above, and not just wicking above, but if you get like 2 days to close right above 0.007 or even further above, you likely won't stop until 1.1 cents. And that's a nice psychological level of resistance there at 1 cent. Who knows? You might go there. You could go beyond. But I mean, that's a crazy amount of growth in a very short amount of time. I'm not saying it's not capable of doing it. If we look at TOSHI, in fact, it's got a relatively low market cap, right? 200 million. That's not the highest market cap in the world. And if you were to see a 10x, that'd give you a $2 billion market cap. If you were to see a 20x, that'd be a $4 billion market cap. And none of that's guaranteed to happen, but those are definitely attainable market caps, especially for something like this. For a meme coin, your notorious meme coins are notorious for seeing these very sporadic, explosive moves. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least if over the coming days we started to see a little bit of life in TOSHI. You probably move up. You know, your guess is as good as mine, but I bet you find resistance here at about 0.00061 to 0.00067, somewhere in that area. Probably below the 6.7, probably above the 6.1. And then once you find your higher low from there, guys, it might just be a straight rocket ship to the moon. But we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely keep you guys posted as we progress through this range, and I absolutely expect TOSHI's on its way to see new all-time highs, if not by the end of March, certainly by the end of April. All right, ta-ta for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.